Hey, ladies, hey. Stop hiding while you're healing. Don't hide while you heal. As I was going through the menopausal weight and the challenges that came with it, I started to hide. I started to alter my attire. Stop hiding while you're healing.
Happen surreal. Welcome to the experience. Healthy, empowering, renewed. Where the healing is real and the love pours through. We're walking in truth, we're stepping in joy, we're loving the woman we choose. This is the her experience.
Hey, ladies, hey. Welcome to today's podcast episode, Hiding While Healing. As many of you know, I am sitting here and can testify, living proof, that I am down almost 40 pounds after gaining an exorbitant amount of weight because of my hormonal imbalances and inflammation and everything else that came with it. I did not feel attractive. I didn't feel confident in that particular area. And I noticed that I began to hide. And at that time, it was my norm, but it wasn't normal. Because what did I think about myself? How did I perceive myself? What changed? What shifted? Stay tuned for this episode. I'm going to tell you that and so much more. I think I started hiding probably close to the end before I realized that, hey, this was a big problem. Weight comes on gradually, and it did. And I noticed that I started hiding probably after I reached 200 pounds, y'all. I had reached 200, and things started shifting. Um, my belly started protruding. My butt started first, and it looked like I had went and had surgery. And then other parts of my body started. And I was okay. We're okay with the behind because who doesn't want a little bit of extra back there, right? You know what I mean? The breast, I was like, wait a minute, hold on. There's something going on. So I knew what it was, but I contacted my OBGYN just to be sure. And then it just started coming on other places. I noticed the extra here and just throughout my body. And I was like, oh, wait, I can't wear this anymore. Um, and also the fact that I couldn't fit some of the things that I had been wearing, and I didn't feel as attractive as I had prior to those challenges. And so I started looking for clothing where I can hide my waist and hide any rolls that I thought that I had. And so it wasn't just your regular straight skirts. It was flowy skirts, skirts that again would hide jackets over tank tops and things of that nature, or the shirts that were kind of hiding the midsection and maybe this area. I'd have my arms out, but it was like I needed to hide this because that's where I had gained an absorbent amount of weight here, a little bit extra here and here. Um, yeah, so that's when I started hiding.
So what does that look like? Not just we talk about clothing, but in like other areas, what does hiding look like?
Mm, wow. Um, this. All right, we going here. I stopped getting into bed with my birthday suit on. I would often um get into bed, with my husband, and we just be free. And oh, all right. I didn't know this was here. Um, I didn't feel like myself. I didn't feel attractive. I always felt attractive and beautiful and all of the things. And because of what I was walking through, I hid even from my husband. And it wasn't all the time, but there were many times that I did put my gowns on and pajama pants and different things. And I've always been curvy, and so I would make sure that I would wear pajamas um, that accentuated certain areas on my body and hide others. But I stopped getting in the bed naked because I didn't know what my husband was going to think or say. This is all new for me. And that man loves me like nobody's business. I know he does, and everybody knows it, right? Yes, yes, that man loves me dearly, and I'm grateful for that. But it was me. It was how I perceived myself. It was how I felt about myself. And so I stopped getting in the bed with my birthday suit. I stopped getting in the bed naked. And so just, yeah, walking past the mirror and not liking what I saw, I tried to dismiss it. And I said, well, I got to make sure I cover up certain areas when I go out because I don't want others to see what I see. And I have to be honest with you. People said back then and even now, God, you were beautiful then. Yeah, I was beautiful then, but I was unhealthy and I was like going through so much. And the menopause stuff, y'all, it's a mental thing. It messes with the mind, I'm telling you. And I am a woman who is mighty in prayer and intercession for everyone else, myself, just, just rooted in God. But this was an area that I had not touched before. It was a place I hadn't walked through, and it was a road that I had not traveled. And I was just like, whoa. And so it started to affect me emotionally. I'll say that emotionally, it started to affect me. So when I walked by the mirror, when I looked in the mirror, I didn't quite like what I saw. So I did not embrace that version of Tracy. I didn't. I tried to hide.
Um,
I hope that answers your
it
question.
does. It answers it. It answers it. What shifted when you began changing how you thought before anything changed physically?
I have to be honest. I think initially I thought, wow, this is just going to be my life. This is just the new me. At the time, I had turned 50. It was prior to me turning 50. Now I'm close to 51, but I mean 52. I'm already 50, close to 52. And at that time, I told myself what I would hear others say. This is just going to be my life. This is just how it is. So you just have to learn how to adapt. You have to learn how to adjust to the new you, assimilate. Your life is different now. Now you're 50 plus, and things just started to, like I said, the weight started piling on along with the inflammation and all the other things that came with it. So I was just like, all right, so I need to learn how to navigate. And I think initially I started saying, well, I'm going to just have to take this sitting down. I won't say that I took it lying down because I didn't completely lie down, if you catch my drift. Meaning, ladies, that I was still exercising. I was still trying to be mindful of eating healthy and having a healthy temple. Was I as strict as I am now? Absolutely not. Was I as disciplined as I am now? Absolutely not. But I continued to exercise. I just didn't lie down and accept it. I was just like, yeah, nah, I can't. I got to keep going. Could be partially because I enjoy exercise. That's like a hobby for me. And so I think it was just like, all right, this is what my life is going to be like. I'm just going to have to learn to live with it and, make the necessary adjustments. And this is what it is. And I don't know if I can change it much because I would hear other women's stories. I would hear women online, social media, YouTube say, hey, you might as well just wear spandex. You want something, that's loose in the waist. We're not wearing jeans. And if we could, we'd wear leggings every day and sweats and skirts, things that were comfortable around the waist. So, baby, let me tell you, I got jeans on right now. I'm sitting 29s. I've been going in the store and just grabbing 29s and not having to try most of them on. A lot of them don't even have the spandex in them, the stretch that we, normally get. And they're comfortable and they're not tight. And I have room. Why? Because I didn't take it lying down. Because I did not allow my mind to stay in that state, that emotional state, that altered emotional state. It wasn't a mental thing, it was an emotional thing. And so, yeah, during that time, it was like, all right, this is what it is. I'm just going to have to deal with it. But that changed.
Okay, so you said earlier that you would wear flowy skirts and other things to hide your weight gain, but
Mm-hmm.
to realize that it actually wasn't hiding, it made it look bigger
Mm-hmm.
and all the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
How can women begin to embrace themselves where they are now, even if they're uncomfortable or they feel like they don't like what they see? How can they embrace themselves now without waiting for the scale to show their worth, or also to show their discipline?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now faith is what we hope for, right? And it's the evidence of things that we do not see. So you have to get in your mind. First of all, you have to see yourself the way you want to be. Your goal weight, your goal size, whatever you envision yourself to be, you have to get a mental picture of her. And while you're walking through that process, while you're on the journey of healing and regaining your life and getting healthy, because it's not just about losing weight or getting smaller in pant size, but it's about a woman's overall health. And so you have to see yourself the way you envision, the way that you want to be. You have to get a vision of yourself and start treating yourself and embracing her, who she is now at a size. I don't know if you are 22. Embrace that size 22 until you get to your goal size of a 12 or a 6 or whatever your size is. So, learning to love who you are and accept who you are and treat that size 12 or 22 like you would treat that size 6 or 8, right? And so beginning to I'm just Diana. I'm just gonna throw that name out there. Diana, who is it that you are wanting to be? How do you perceive yourself? How do you see yourself, right? What do you think about yourself? And so if you are walking around like, oh, woe is me, I'm this heavy woman, this is just what it is, this is my life, then it's going to be very difficult for you to get to that goal size, right? The Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. What do you think about yourself? How do you see yourself? Are you telling yourself that this is just how it's going to be because my mother was like that? All my aunts were like that. My grandmother was like that. My daddy's side of the family, my mama's side of the family. Oh, this happened to me, mom, when she went through menopause. This happened to such and such. Doesn't have to be your story. You make it what you want it to be. And so begin to embrace, accept, and style and dress and love on who you are now as well as who you want to be in the future. Because it's a mindset, it's a mind thing. It's inside out, never outside in. Because you can get to that place of a size 8, a 10, a 6, whatever your goal or dream size is, but still have that same old mindset and old mentality. So start to see yourself and envision yourself who you want to be. Draw a picture. Put it on your wall, on your mirror, or something. Get a picture, maybe a picture of your old self, maybe, and not anyone in particular, but just an idea, size or goal that you have. Write it down, revisit it, work towards it, and love who you are now.
What does it look like in real life to celebrate yourself now? Yeah, what does celebrate yeah, look like to celebrate yourself now while still pursuing health and wellness? Um,
That's good. Good question. So celebrate the small victories, celebrate the milestones, the huge accomplishments. If you, and I'm going to give a few examples. If while you were on your, if some of your women are still having your cycle, if while you were on your cycle and you were craving a food item that wouldn't be beneficial for your health or aid in your weight loss goal, but you managed to overcome that, you managed to have some discipline and some self control, and you opted for a healthier version. Celebrate that. If and you may not be, having a cycle. You may not have them anymore. But if you are just craving something and you know that it's not going to aid in your goals and your weight loss goals, and you're like, man, I just really want this. I really got this craving for this, the desire for this, and you opt for something other than that particular option. Opt for something healthier, a healthier option is what I'm trying to say. Celebrate that. Or the times where you're like, I'm not really feeling this. I'm not really seeing a change this week. What's the use? Why am I working out? What's the point of it? And you do it anyway, even though you did not feel like it, even though you were not feeling motivated and you pushed yourself. Celebrate those victories. Those are small victories that lead to the great goal that you have, that leads to what it is that you are trying to accomplish, what you are setting out to do. So you definitely want to make sure that you celebrate the small victories. Keep going, gain your momentum, and just keep moving towards your goal.
we talk about weight, but women are hiding in other areas, the things they know they're supposed to be doing and they're not doing because they feel like they don't have the confidence or they're not good enough or whatever. It might be how would you, because you are a very confident,
Mm-hmm.
bold woman.
Mm-hmm.
How would you, what advice or what things would you give
Mm-hmm.
them to try and step into that part of continuing not hiding?
Yeah. Let me say this. Usually, when we hide, so even if it's a physical hiding, there is always something underlying. It doesn't just start with the physical. So, say, for example, um, my brain tells my body what to do. My brain speaks, my brain directs, right? My brain controls my movement. My brain literally tells me to sit in the chair. My brain tells me to get up and my legs to move. And so, if my brain, which is an inner thing, you cannot see my brain, is dictating what I'm doing physically, so my thoughts, my perceptions, my ideologies, all the things that may make up who I am in this moment is going to dictate what I do. And so when there is a lack of confidence in an area, it's not just this one physical area. There are other areas, for example, i.e., in your giftings, in what God has called you to do. Um, Yes, a lot of people say I am confident and strong and all of the above, and it's through the Lord. I haven't always been this way. There was a time where I was very insecure years ago, early on in my walk with the Lord, and it's because I didn't know who I was. I did not know who I was, and I didn't understand whose I was and my function as a daughter of God. I did not fully understand and embrace the power of God. I had an affiliation with the power of God. I did not understand the authority and dominion. I didn't understand that all that I am comes from Him. Every good and perfect gift comes from God. I didn't understand. So I thought as I was called to things or gifts were identified that, okay, I got to do this and I got to do that. I have to work. I got to work at it now. Don't get me wrong. The Holy Spirit, we're supposed to cultivate the gifts that are inside of us, right? And so these are gifts, again, of the Spirit. You have natural gifts, you have spiritual gifts as well. All that we are, our intelligence, everything, we owe it to God. We are who we are. I'm here in this moment talking to you with breath in my lungs because of the Ruach, the breath of God, right? And so, all that I am, I've learned to render it back to God. I no longer am trying to work at being my best. I'm no longer trying to do things in my own strength. I literally have yearned to, learn to say, okay, wait, God, I'm giving all this to you. I really don't know anything. You know everything, and you have chosen to partner with me. So, it went from being afraid to speak before people, being afraid to stand and give what's been given to me because I was leaning on my own understanding, for one. That was for one. I was leaning on my limited, my finite understanding. God is infinite, He's limitless, He's powerful. So I learned how to depend on God and rely on Him. Lord, with all that I am and all that you've called me to do, I give it back to you. That's what rendering it back to Him is. And so that I'm allowing, if I'm giving who I am and what you've called me to be and how you've called me to function back to you, then that means that, all right, God, I have given you permission to come in and direct, to come in and conduct, to come in and be sovereign and rule. He is a sovereign God, right? And so, am I allowing Him to be sovereign? Because, Lord, I really don't know. I'm just showing up. I don't have to do all these things like, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to checklist, check, 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 check. Yeah. I went from not being in front of the camera, wanting to be in front of the camera, to you see me. What you see is what you get. And so I allow God to deal with those areas of insecurity, those areas of doubt, those areas of my lack of self worth. At that time, I didn't feel like I was worthy. And it was because I didn't understand the worthiness of God, because I did not understand. I had not embraced the love that God had for me at that time. And I remember early on, I would say, God, I don't understand how much you love me, but I'm not worth. No, I'm not worthy. But because of who Jesus is, He deemed me to be worthy and to come up close and to have authority and to walk in dominion. He created us to be kingdom advancers and kingdom dwellers and to go and be light and be sought and show up to a people who want to be seen, to a people who want to know that they're heard, to a people who want to know that they're not forsaken and that they're not forgotten. And it comes from us, it comes from you. Your voice has to be heard. The words that God has put inside of you has to be spoken. And while we're sitting there and we're toiling and we're twiddling and with our fingers and trying to figure out, okay, who am I? And Lord, why me? Why not you? Because God said so. He said so. He chose you. The sovereign ruler who was full of dominion and might and power before the earth ever was. He chose you. He called you by name from eternity. And so when I start to really understand that, like, wait a minute. And I always go back to Psalm 139. There are many books in the Bible, many scripture that talk about who we are. Jeremiah 29:11. That's a lot of people's favorites, but Psalm 139, whole chapter for me. But it talks about how God created us in His wisdom and His power and His, oh my God, just He was just very intricate and very detailed and very precise and very purposeful. And so once I got that understanding and I worked through the self condemnation, worked through the misidentification, work through, like I said, the low self esteem and the lack of self worth and all of those things, the guilt, the shame, which work hand in hand. I said they cousins, they relatives, and that was to keep me locked up. I didn't know who I was back then. But oh, once I came into the knowledge of who I am, baby, ain't nothing holding me back now. But I didn't know, I didn't understand. And so, even in this season that I walked through, this was again, as I said before, something new. This was new territory that I had not tread before. This was new terrain. And I'm like, all right, Lord, what you want me to do with this? It was other things that I kind of knew and expected. All right, this is what happens. It comes with this territory, but it was new. And so during that season of starting the menopause challenge, the menopausal, excuse me, challenges, there were also other things that I had to work through, right? There were other things that I needed to be healed from and walk through that I didn't even know was there. And I'm going here. I didn't kind of went on, but I'm going here. We're going here. And there were things that got brought to the surface. And I was like, wait, whoa, Lord, what? Where did this come from? So from 50 until now, and I would say the past maybe 3, 4 months or so, I was just like, whoo, I would say 49 plus till now. Um, but my life has changed. It has changed. Mm. God cannot reveal everything that's inside, all of the things that we need to release, all the things that we need to relinquish and then we need to be healed from. We can't handle it all at once. And so there were some things that was connected to my childhood that also happened during the time as I was walking through, as I am still in menopause, right? But I've overcome a lot. But as I was walking through in the beginning stages, and I was like, wait, what? Where did this come from? I didn't even know that this was present, like what's going on, but it was dormant and it was connected to my childhood, and I didn't even know. But once I was aware of it, I gave it to God through the pain, through the tears. And I cried for days consecutively in a row, crying out to God. It hurt. It was like gut wrenching pain. And I was like, and I told the Lord, I said, Lord, I don't want to feel this right now, but you're with me in this. I'm not in this alone. I give this to you. This hurts. It was a deep pain that I can't even say that I was prepared to deal with it because I didn't know it was there. You know how in relationships you may have conflict and, with your siblings, your parents or whatever. And it's maybe an ongoing thing and there's a wound from it. Well, there were no wounds. I didn't know I was cut. I didn't know until some things came up for me that needed to come up and be dealt with and be healed because I couldn't take it with me. And so that's also connected to this journey. But um, the confidence, or as I call it, Godfidence, came after I did the work of being released from self condemnation and guilt and shame and how I perceive myself. I began to see myself the way that God sees me. And that came by walking um, the journey of healing, y'all. Because a lot of times we are not a lot of times, we are shaped based on our experiences, based on our upbringing, based on what we have been taught, what we hear, what we learn directly or indirectly. Those are the things that shape us. Those are the things that mold us. And so um, things became apparent. I became aware of them. And then it was my responsibility. Now it's your responsibility, Tracy, to be healed. No, maybe those things were not your fault. Maybe they weren't. But now you know you're an adult and you have a responsibility to be healed of those things. And so, and there were times that I did things afraid and I did it nervous. I was just like, you know what? Either I'm just going to stay in this cycle or I'm going to break it and move forward and keep going when I don't have all of the details, trusting God, faith again, faith, walking by faith. Because as a believer, as someone who is just, we live by faith. That's our lifestyle. It's our life. It's how we live. And so doing it even when I was uncertain, doing it even when I may have been afraid, doing it even if there was a little bit of apprehension, doing it if I even felt nervous. Just I'm moving forward. And then I discovered, oh, okay. Yeah, God, you were with me all the way. You have always been with me. I'm going to keep going. And so that builds up your faith muscle for the next. And then what happens? You gain more and more and more confidence. But it starts with rendering it back to God and literally relying on Him. You see how my butt is sitting in this chair? I'm depending on these four legs and this back to hold me up. And that I'm not going to fall. It's not going to fall out from underneath me. That I'm not going to be on the floor, on this wood floor. I'm trusting that this chair is going to hold me up. So I trust God. I lean on Him. I sit on Him. I trust in Him. I rest on Him, His chest, His bosom. I rest in His promises that He's going to carry me and hold me as He tells me to move forward. Go and say this. Do it. It's in me and it's through me, Tracy. I got you. And so I dare you to try that. I dare you. Those of you who are struggling in your confidence in God and your confidence in the skills and your abilities and the things that He has called you to do, I dare you to trust Him. I dare you to trust Him and not to lean on your, remember, limited understanding. Get out of your head. That human reasoning can go like a race car. Get out of your head. Try faith. Try believing. Try relying. Try depending on Him. Just give it a try and tell me how it worked out for you.
So, who do you believe God says you are in this
Mm, who do I believe God says that I am in this season? Forerunner, first responder, um, someone who helps women to be restored to their original intent and purpose in God. A woman who helps women to find their God given identity, someone who pushes people to their potential, someone who disciples others, disciples women, someone who is called to help change a family, a generation, the family structure, someone who is called to be opulent, and not just wealthy or opulent for myself and my household, but to also help others um, gain wealth, to steward well. I am called to help people steward. Um, called to teach people how to walk and live in holiness. And I have to do that by example. I'm supposed to lead by example, not being perfect, but walking in holiness and even teaching that. How do you do that? And I'm not going to go into that. That might be another episode because that can be long. I am called, I said first responder. I said opulent. I said what else? What else? What else? A leader. I am called to lead, not just this season, but every season, but I'm called to lead. I am called to do some first, some things that I haven't done before, to break some traits in my bloodline, to do some things that haven't been done before in my family, to step outside of the norm, to step outside of any boxes that anyone, including myself, has created and labeled for me. Um, Called to go beyond my limits and move and live in the expectation of what God has for not just me, but for those who are connected to me. I'm called to travel. I am called to for my voice to be heard in the earth throughout nations. Um, yeah, where do I stop? I'm called to.
Wherever you want to stop, you know.
Woo! I am called. Okay.
No, go
We
ahead.
go.
Go ahead. Hey, this is your show.
I am called, and I'll end with this. I'll end with this. I am called to God's people to bring about their total being, being whole. Will thou be made whole? There are so many facets that are required to being made whole. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing. I am walking out this journey called life to help women like myself and daughters and granddaughters and nieces and cousins to walk in wholeness, not to continue a cycle of brokenness, and to really, really um, live in the now, um, enjoy who they are, embrace who they are in the now, and see themselves the way that God sees them. Ladies, I want to say this also. Um, I am on a mission to um, foster in women and teach them about who they think that they are and how they see themselves. Because you are going to act like you think you are. Who do you think you are in this season? Now, we just started a new year. We're just a few days, the fifth day into January, into a new year. So I want you to ask yourself, who do you think you are in this season of your life, in this new year? Because whoever you think you are, that's how you're going to act. So I want you to just really sit and think about that. And so I want to make sure that whoever a woman thinks that she is, that it lines up with who God says that you are. Does it line up with his word? God has already said who you are. He's already established who you are. And so who do you think you are? Think about it. Just think about
Okay, so how would this is the last question? How would a woman's life, confidence, and choices change if she fully lived from the from that identity right now and not after having the weight loss or the confidence comes? How would her life change? That's what I was trying to say.
it. Oh my God, in so many ways. First of all, there's a freedom in it. You're if you are living in confidence now instead of waiting till you lose the weight or embracing who you are now, then you're gonna start to see yourself differently. Again, you're gonna start. Who do you think you are? You're gonna start treating yourself as if that little small size, that you want to be, and so um, you don't have to wait until you are healed, until you're whole, until you are the new you. Do it now. And so, how is it different? You're confident now, you're confident after. You're walking in freedom. There's a liberty now, there's a liberty later. Ladies, even at your uncomfortable size, treat yourself as if you were that little size, that small size that you want to get to. Show up. Take the picture, show up, treat yourself the way that you think you are. And I hope that after today's episode, that you will begin to see yourself differently. If you are uncomfortable, if you are hiding, if you are shielding, if you are in the background, I hope that after today's episode that you will begin to show up like the person that you think that you are. Take the picture, wear the outfit, be who God has called you to be. No more hiding. All right? Bye, ladies. This is our final episode of the season. Yes. Thank you for tuning in and joining us every Saturday. We will have some more episodes coming up in next season. It's going to be a blast and coming back with a bang. So you don't want to miss next season. So, ladies, even though this is the final episode of this season, you want to follow me, you want to keep up with what's going on with the Her brand, go over to my Instagram channel, same name, at Tracy D underscore her. You can find out that's continual, right? That's in season, out of season, all seasons. Again, follow me on my Instagram page at Tracy D underscore her. I'll see you soon. Bye.
Welcome to the Her experience. Healthy and